Hey, this is Russ Edgar, Avion Overlander. Welcome. This is Russ Edgar, Avion Overlander. I'm shooting the top of the trailer so I can explain to you what I am going to be doing for the next several days. When we returned from our Canadian trip, we both decided, Lynn and I, that we needed to remove this vent that is actually in the bathroom below, and we needed to replace it with another one of these. This is a Max fan. We have two of them, as you can see, and the only thing that made sense on the trip when we needed a lot of fan blowing humidity out of the trailer was to, in our opinion, put a new fan in. As you can see, there's something amiss there. What it is I took out about 2 days ago the solar panel that was there. You can see the brackets. They're non-removable. They're stuck down with 3M very high bond tape, and they'll be there for years and years, but that's okay. I took that out, and at the same time I took out the windgird antenna that was in the middle of the trailer. You can see the white square there of the Etherbond tape, and the brand new, with the water droplets on it, aluminum sheet that covers all of that. The antenna had been damaged before we bought the trailer, and we had ignored it until on the Canadian trip it started to leak because the caulking they put around the the unit had evidently failed. So when we got home, we had a few cloudy days. I got up on the trailer, I cleaned it up, removed it, put a sealer over each of the screw holes and a sealer over the hole that the antenna went down into the trailer with, put a new piece of aluminum on it, riveted down with about 10 billion rivets, and then Etherbond taped it. This, what I'm showing you here, and this over here, took me 2 or 3 days to get it done. So what's going to follow is several more days. Going to pull this vent tomorrow probably. A new one is coming from Amazon that will match these other two that we have. I had to get into the combiner box, and you see there's some tape on it because I had to remove one of the cables that went to that panel over there, and that left a hole in it, so I put Etherbond tape over the hole. It looks a little funny, but nobody will ever see it, and it'll operate and function perfectly. What I'm going to do this morning, as you can see, the solar panel is upside down here, lying on the front of my tractor loader. Last night, before I quit, I cut aluminum and made a J and screwed it on. You can see what I'm going to touch with my hand is where it's going to be mounted to the truck, is that item right there. This just extends it high enough to be mounted safely. I got this aluminum. This was actually last night before I cut it, was actually on the long side of the solar panel. I loosened all the bolts. I took it apart, cut it, and made it fit on the ends because the attachment is way different on the truck than it is on the Avion. So this morning I'm going to run they're not tight yet, those bolts. I'm going to run them out. I'm going to treat all the bolts, B-O-L-T-S, with this Permatex aluminum anti-galling lubricant. It makes it really easy later if you change your mind, like I have on this panel, to when you start to take things apart, things are free and come apart readily rather than being galled and it won't come apart. Yes, you see a pair of new black gloves there. I will use those because when you put the solution or the lubricant on the bolts, it's a messy job. It's not dangerous, it is just messy. Started. The anti-seize material lubricant has a dauber in it. I daub it, take off the excess, then simply daub your bolt. Then I simply take the nut and put it back on the bolt, screw it down. You'll find that when you do it, if you do it, it'll screw on very easy. Then I simply do the next one in order, set the nut aside, daub it. As I said, it's a little messy. You'll get some on your aluminum. Obviously, it's not a bad thing. And then when I'm done, I simply clean it off with some paper towels. But I will do them all this way, and then after I get them lubricated, then I'll tighten them down completely hard. Okay, we've made some progress. I just vacuumed the panel. Got all the aluminum shards where I did all the drilling. It's nice and clean. Bolts are all tight. I'm going to flip it over, start up the tractor, and install it on the pickup. I do a lot of my improvements to this trailer and the truck alone, with some help from Lynn, but mostly alone. And I find that a board to slide things on is a wonderful thing. Okay, the solar panel is in place. And it is wired to the combiner box. The front connection there is the one that comes from this panel. The other three are behind the box. The box, I put a piece of steel in there to give the box someplace to set, because it didn't have one after I put the panel up there. So it's hooked up. I've got to put the little protector here on, and we'll be in high grass. It's producing electricity already. I'm going to call it today on this video. Everything is operating correctly. For those who are really sharp-eyed, I have omitted some of the fasteners on each side. I usually have 5, and I ran out of parts, so I'm going to the store tomorrow and get them and put them in. But basically, if Lynn or I wanted to drive on down the road, everything is stable, everything is operating. I'd really like, if you would, to please subscribe to the channel. Be safe out there, and I truly hope you are as lucky as Lynn and I are.